in a fucking video brandishing knives because you can't have guns because they're illegal is a fucking weird look when you're trying to act American.
It's certainly a compromise.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that.
Yo, what up? Good to see you. Good to be. It's your boy DillyDave hanging out for a good time with the Vibe Union crew.
Woo!
Yep.
With me this day, Rhath. You know how it be.
How we doing? Oh, I'm so good. How are you doing, Dilly?
I'm good. We're super privileged today. Obviously, we all know that I'm forever privileged. But aside from that fact, we got Tumi the Be with us. Are you kidding me? We got some legit artists. Like, we're talking top notch,
Some
top brand,
Melbourne
top
royalty.
shelf. Melbourne royalty coming straight off the back of a royalty noise gig. How are we feeling?
Feeling amazing. I'm wrecked. Celebration post gig was good.
That's a conservative reflection. But
The preparation to the celebration, the participation, the everything. It was a beautiful night, man. It was good. You know what was good about it? Can I tell you my favorite thing about it? Because I have to say it first before anything else.
Please.
I saw so many people that are my mates that I haven't seen in ages. Or that I've been like, it was cool because seeing you guys at a show was also amazing. You, Mash, Kelsey was there, Rhath, you were there. It was it was the four of you. It was just cool because it was like, I feel like I said to someone yesterday, when I play music, it's like when you go to a cafe and someone makes you a cup of coffee, that there's always that one barista who loves the fact that they make coffee and wants you to make it. When I make and play music, it's great to play for anyone, but to play for people that I know and to have them come out and enjoy it, it's like making someone that's a mate, like a really good cup of coffee because that's your lane. You're like, that's my shit. I can make it.
Yes.
Amazing.
Powerful. Well, off the bat of that, just like to take a second to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land that we are recording upon, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. You know, just want to pay respects to the elders past, present, and emerging. And, you know, just really understand the fact that sovereignty was never ceded. It was never given up. It was taken. And we have a lot of things to think about and talk about. But that's why we get on the podcast and we do the thing.
Spit your game, talk your shit.
That's
Talk
it.
your shit.
So you know this is the Vibe Union podcast. You could catch us in pretty much every single platform except for, I've said this in the past, Parler. No longer on Parler. We were never on Parler. But yeah, that's probably the only platform that you won't see us on. So if you can either like, subscribe, comment, rate. We've said this before. We don't mind the content of the comment as long as you give us a 4 or 5 star rating. That's really what we're hanging out for. You can diss, you can call us out, you can make fun of us, you can give us tips, all of these things.
In fact, I'm happy to be taken to task.
Yeah.
As long as it's a 5-star rating, that'll get our attention, and then we'll read out your comment on the podcast, and we'll critique you back. We'll take it back. This is a two-way street.
I was going to say two-way conversation, but Rai likes playing on the street, and we'll keep it there.
Man, I was born in the streets, raised in the streets. You know me.
That's I thought I did.
I feel like you have become the streets. Now other people can say that. They can be like, I've been in the streets. And that's
I hung out with Rhath.
I hung out with Rhath.
I'm cold like streets ice cream.
Oh,
There's something in
there we
there.
go. No, I think it was there.
Rhath, you might be rivaling Jay-Z on bringing black back, bro. That shit is some shit. I've been dreaming about that for years, but I've never had the balls to pull it off. I've always been like, I'm going to start wearing all black. I'm going to do it. But
Right.
I've never been able to pull it off.
Antifa are bringing all black back.
Who, you?
I said Antifa are bringing all black back.
Oh, yeah. Who? Antifa.
Yeah, Antifa.
Is that a real who? Like you don't know who Antifa is?
I do know who Antifa is.
Okay.
Sort of.
I misread.
Anyway, whether you do or don't, the moment's passed. We're here in the present. We've actually just had a bit of a recording session at Rai's place. one of the 15 beats that Jessy Jackson offered up to us.
Dude is a machine. It was
15.
scary, man. The VU weekend we had where we're sitting down writing and working on some stuff. We try to gather people around for a weekend, 2 days of just music creation, hanging out, working on stuff. And Jessy Jackson, quietest dude I've ever met in my life, sitting in the corner, smashes out 10 beats in a day.
10 beats
and I
in a day.
swear every single one of them was insane. And it makes me feel embarrassed to be a beat maker.
I was at the house for 3 hours. When I walked in, he was sitting in front of his laptop.
Yeah.
Amutha was talking to him. When I left 3 hours later, Amutha was not talking to him anymore, but he was still sitting in the exact same fucking spot.
That's crazy.
The kid doesn't move, but he moves on the Ableton. He moves in the music.
He's crazy. It's watching his hands dart across the keyboard. It looks like it's in
the workflow, man.
Yeah, he's kind of like a hacker. He's just hacking those tracks, isn't he?
But I like what you said the other day because I was questioning like, okay, so what's his deal? What's he getting out of this? And you pointed out that like he just loves that process. He loves his hands darting across the keyboard, working like that. He loves the process of that, and I think that's so underappreciated a lot of the time.
Well, my assumption is that his creative space for making beats is this dank bedroom. I don't pick him as a really particularly tidy person. He might be very tidy. He might have OCD. I'm not sure. But I get the feeling that all his attention goes to that computer. So when he gets this opportunity to move into a new space where there's like people around him that really actually appreciate what he's done, what he's doing, and have worked on his tracks. Like we've all been on a Jessy Jackson track before. Two, and many more to come.
Yeah.
And I mean, for him to have that input into his like creative feedback loop, I think for him is just more than he could ask for.
That does take time to get used to, I think. I mean, I assume all three of us started, just writing in our bedrooms and notebooks and feeling weird about it in a sense of like,
always
a bit self-deprecating most of the time.
I literally saw a Sampa interview where she said probably her greatest, she said something along the lines of, it's just really dope to know that people go, that's amazing, and for her, she's like, yeah, you loved the show or you loved the album or you loved the single. But when she thinks back on it, she's like, I was sitting in my bedroom writing the first line of that a few months ago. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's crazy to think that that's what we end up doing. We're sitting in a very just regular and mundane place. Everyone has that place, but you sit down and you, like you say with Jessy, he sits down, he's at his computer and he's just sitting there making beats. But through like the connections that he has with people, through the relationships, through like someone else having that same, you know how you said what were you saying? For him, the process is enjoyable.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like living the dream because it's like he has that thing that he enjoys doing that much. That's what he gets out of it.
Yeah.
It's intrinsically rewarding for him.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key to success in this kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you don't love that process, then there's really no point in doing it. Unless you love the lifestyle. Like we used a comedian metaphor last time. I think it's a good one for this as well because I was listening to a podcast with Conan and John Mulaney talking about this about
O'Brien.
Yeah, about John Mulaney when he started out, when he was watching entertainers when he was a kid, he loved the thought of like, oh, cool, I get to bum around the house all day, and then I go do an hour set, maybe. If you're a comedian, you can do a 15-minute set, you get paid, and you walk home. That's your job done for the day.
Right. But you've almost got to rely on the mundane somehow giving you something that's out of the norm or the ordinary. You almost need like this really mundane setting to see the world in a different way, without all these distractions of having to be at this workplace for a whole day. I
like that. That is
that's what you've been doing about. You're just fucking kicking around all day around here. That's what you're doing.
Man, I got fired in last March due to COVID, so I've had fucking
thank God,
so
by the way.
much time.
Thank God that you got fired.
Yeah. Everyone's benefited from me being fired quite a lot, including myself.
And your previous employer. I'm kidding. They like you. Your previous employer does like you.
They do. But oh man, I had a thing. I had a continuation from this, and I've lost it, unfortunately.
That's all right. You know, sometimes we're in the loop, sometimes we're out of it. You know, it doesn't matter if you forfeit what you got in the moment, as long as something else comes back around.
Actually, I was going to say this is connected in a sense, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk on an experience that I've had in the last couple of days based on this idea of what Sample was saying, because so I just released. This is going to be a shameless plug for a second, but I just released my album.
You should.
Yesterday.
Orbits.
And there's a album launch gig coming up. Both these guys are going to be fucking playing at. It's going to be fucking sick. Get to it at Cactus, 5th of March. Anyway, the point is though.
Wait, hold up.
Yep.
Since you, I'm gonna enable your shameless plugging and say,
please do it.
Where can I hear the album?
Anywhere on Spotify, Apple Music, any streaming service. Look it up. Rhath, Orbits. Rhath is spelled Rhath. Or if you want it to be even easier, go to rhath.com. It's all right there.
Kid's got a website.
Yeah.
Kid's got QR codes. Kid's got a lot.
Man controls the traffic, brother.
That's it.
Any Vibe Union channel has my links there somewhere on it anyway. But yeah, release day itself is a really weird experience because release day it feels slightly like shouting out into the void. And I imagine I'm thinking
That's
release day versus launch day. So release day being putting it on Spotify, posting about it on Instagram feels like shouting out to the void. I'm sure launch day at an actual gig with other artists on the stage and an audience, that will feel like, okay, cool, now something's happening.
Right, because when you're launching from your bedroom, not much is taken off.
Yeah, but the reason this came to mind is because of that saying that it started off in the bedroom. And getting to that point feels really weird because you're putting it out into the world, and then to have even some people kind of hit you up and say like, "Hey, this is fucking sick." And I got a photo and I got a video from these two guys that I know, listening to it and kind of geeking out to it.
Yes.
And I was like, "That's fucking weird." It feels weird because it was just I started writing in my bedroom. I'm sitting in front of my computer anyway every single day, and then this is just it feels like a hobby. And then you're acting on Instagram, you're acting on Facebook, you are putting on an act to be like, yeah, guys, check out my fucking shit. Here's all the links, buy a link, blah, 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 do the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when someone actually does that, when actually someone does actually respond and hit you up, I still don't know how to react. I still don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I guess, you're making this stuff, but to have expectations of how other people are going to receive that, tied to that, that's dangerous territory, right? It's better to kind of let it go with minimal expectations and just see how things simmer and settle.
That's also a recipe for lackluster response, though.
Yeah, I guess best case scenario, somebody else is pushing it out for you. Somebody else is dropping it, doing that initial promo thing, because at that point you've already done all the work, and he also makes graphics for everything as well. Visualizes. Oh, by the way, I don't know when you're dropping boxed in music video. Next week.
Friday.
This music video. He's got his own cable. That's done this. I don't know. This is a 3D animation, but it's like this creation of Rhath's world that him and Mash is on the boxed in track. And
animated clip,
man, but with some real life footage in there.
And shit.
But it is beyond next level. It's like it's taken vaporwave to a new level.
This is vaporwave.
It's more than vaporwave.
I think the aesthetic, there's a bit of vaporwave.
Yeah, I'd say
in a sense, yeah, for sure.
But this is like fully in depth, world created, not just like getting assets off the internet and throwing them together. This is like from the pixelated ground up.
Thank God for being fired in March.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank God for being fired in March.
God, I can only hope so much for the rest of you out there.
Sorry, you still got your job.
Really
Sucks to be
out.
you.
God, what are you going to do with that money? Who knows?
You can keep all that money. I'll have my time.
Yeah, that's it. Time and attention are the true currencies. Did you have more to tag on?
No, but I felt the lull coming, so I have something Basically. So,
Hit 'em. Let him hear it.
Tumi, you were talking how appreciative you were of having people at your gig last night. You felt like you felt a connection to your friends over not over the crowd, but like that felt more important to have your friends in the crowd, right?
Yeah, it's like, you know what it's like? It's like, because I don't know if you guys ever did this, but when I was like 9, I would I would put on shows for my mom and my grandmother.
No, that shit would terrify me.
It was, I would force them. It was a little trade-off we'd have. My thing was my mom would always be like, whenever we'd have guests make a cup of tea, and I loved the attention. So I would like, relatives or friends or family would come over and I'd be like, I'll make you a cup of tea, but while you're sitting here in my living room drinking my mother's tea, I am gonna just do random shit for you for the next 15 minutes.
Wow.
And for me, it's a performance, and for you, it's my offering to you, and you are obligated, to applaud afterwards. And just, it was nice, that childlike feeling, like, it's indulgent, right? But as a kid, you don't think it's indulgent because you're like, I love this, let me show you.
Did you, that's pretty powerful if you had the mindset of that being an offering from a young age.
Yeah, it's just, it's fun. It's the point where, like, I feel like as a child at that age, it's like, it's just fun. It's like, you know how kids do that thing where it's like, look at what I did, look what I did? That really enthusiastic, they just have so much love for the things that they create. And I feel like I don't feel that as much with people I don't know, but I feel that with people I do know who know me, because I'm like...
They appreciate your creation like your family's friends that are forced to witness you doing your thing.
Like,
but even in that moment, they're like, oh, wow, that was beautiful, thank you.
Yeah, I'm like, I feel like that kid again that's like, look at what I did. You know, and it's like, for you guys coming out, it's great because I know that as artists yourselves, as musicians yourselves, you come out and I know that some part of you is appreciative, but there's also a part of you that's like, okay, cool.
Analytical.
I know that you're gonna check me if I'm doing something that's weird. You've checked me before when I've when I've been fluffing around, and anyone else will be like, "Oh, that's dope," and you're like, "Okay, cool. Maybe dash, bro." And I'm like, "Oh, come on, man." But it's also just the fact that I know that it's the inspiration. It's like you come out and you see it and you're like, okay, cool. This can be done like this.
That's what we're chasing. That is totally 100%. What we're chasing. We're going out there, to be like, okay, well, no, it's not like what's the level or what's the bar. It's like, what is the inspiration, the possibilities, the potential, and seeing something that Royalty Noise is doing at such a level, truly inspiring. We got more than our money's worth. I'll tell you that much.
100%.
You look at the venue. You look at the setup. You have a template in your mind for you to go. Just a snapshot. When you go, let's just say you go, we're playing at the Northcote Social.
Even the visualizer stuff.
Yeah, you have you have that template in your mind, and by being there and presenting that to you, it's just dope.
Yeah, you've run the simulation for us to review.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was thinking, actually, I mentioned to you guys off mic about like the thing that I've always aspired to is to be in the same room as greatness, basically.
Yes, sir.
So, and it is my go-to group, but people like Questlove, people like Q-Tip, people like Jay Dilla, those guys all being in the same room, working on shit together, working on their own solo albums, working on each other's albums, blows my mind, the idea that much talent, that much greatness is in the same room working together. And I'm sure in that room, they don't think of themselves like, oh, we're gods working on this shit. They're with their friends working on some shit. And that was kind of a moment last night. I was like seeing you to me on stage and thinking, holy shit, this guy's come around to my place tomorrow and we're working on something. Yeah. To see people of that status in terms of just pure talent on stage and knowing that they're going to work on something that I'm working on, that's the most motivating thing I can possibly imagine.
Right. That's the reason to get up for the next month or more.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
100%. Just to be in the same room with those people working on the same shit. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's the dream. And like, I don't go anywhere where I'm like, we're not going to get anything good done. After that one time at the VU weekend, I was like, you know your shit. I already knew you were good as a lyricist, but I'm like, I can work with you in the booth. I'm like, fuck yeah, 100%. With like no doubt about it. And there's not many people I can say that about. Like, that was a dope session, bro.
Thanks, man.
Fire in the booth, bro. Fire in the booth, bro. Actually, man.
So a continuation of this idea, though, is COVID has happened. There's a pandemic that has swept the globe that has completely disrupted, especially our industry, which is based on a lot of people in the same room without masks, smashing beers, fucking hugging, kissing, dancing, sweating, fucking everything, right?
Stroking.
We are a potential
Rubbing up on each
hotspot
other.
every single time we get together. But this also means that no international acts are coming to Australia for some fucking time, right?
Unless they're playing tennis.
I don't want to get into the politics.
Without an
fucking-
audience.
Those
Without an
motherfuckers
audience.
were in quarantine for like 2 weeks apiece, so I'm not worried about that.
Okay.
But this is a golden opportunity because I think we were all locked inside for like 8 months, right? And I think that I know that we all really appreciate that kind of experience of being on stage and seeing your friends in the audience.
Yeah.
But I think now more than ever, people are ready for that same experience as audience members. So like they are looking, because they were trapped inside. Now, you know, if a giant act comes to Rod Laver, which is for people outside of Melbourne, is the tennis court / giant
Our stadium
our
equivalent.
our rock stadium here. If people, if an artist comes to let's pick a random giant artist, like if Beyonce comes and performs at Rod Laver, obviously amazing, obviously incredible, right? But it's an otherworldly experience. You don't have much connection. There is still some sort of barrier between you and the artist, right? There's still basically watching this person on TV. You're only so connected to it.
Many degrees of separation.
But I think after the pandemic, people were so desperate to like, I just want to see my friends again. I just want to see my family again. And also, I think that bleeds into everything. You pointed out making the coffee, right? Getting a coffee from the barista that you know, who knows your name as well, that's such an experience, especially if they really give a shit about the coffee. That's their gift to the world. It's a small little thing. They do it 1,000 times a day. But knowing your name, they know your, that's a very important
You walk
connection.
in, you look straight at them, they go, yeah, and you go, yeah, and they go
Yeah.
and get you a latte, 2 sugars, boom. You don't have to say anything. It's amazing.
Don't put sugar in your coffee.
I do. I'm happy to not be a fence sitter. I'm all about the sugar. You know, I don't know. I wouldn't go as far as 2.
Yeah.
But definitely
As
one.
far as 2, I know someone that puts 4 in there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Small, by the way, not
are
regular.
they still alive?
Hey, boy.
Very much for live for now.
Okay.
But that more personal connection, I think, is hopefully about to explode. Like, I think we're all desperate for that. And hopefully smaller communities, so within your own city, we're able to now capitalize on that in a sense.
Regroup on a smaller scale from, people that are more localized in your area. And hopefully that will start, people, we know that people are keen to come out to shows because people have come to a bunch of shows that we've put on.
Yeah.
We saw the turnout at Royalty Nose that was sold out.
Sold out.
It's not like people aren't keen to get out there. And I think, people are more keen to especially connect with their friend groups. Like, as us artists, we're pretty familiar with the feeling of doing things and not having people that we would consider friends close show up to the thing. Yeah. It seems like this opportunity is now bigger and better than ever. So, for all those other artists or people that are looking to put things on, make things happen, do it. The time is nigh now.
So it's not even, it's already here.
Yeah.
It has begun.
It has begun. It's happening.
Mortal Kombat.
That's it. But we ain't going to finish it yet. Can I want to take a look, unless you got a little bit more to add to what's happening in the live scene at the moment.
I think the other thing that we said about international acts as well is, as much as there's not going to be, it's kind of crazy when you think about it. I mean, I always say, and this is something someone pointed out to me, is that with Australia, it's the population that makes. I mean, the assumption is that if you have a bigger population and a larger proportion or portion of that population doing something in particular, it's going to be more. You got more people specializing. If they have access to everything they need to do that. Australia's actually got like some top tier world class music that's like
including the stuff that you make. including you.
Of course.
I literally think
all
you're
day,
world class,
all day,
man. It's
all
wild.
day. Thank you, man. All day. But you can literally look online today and find an act you've never heard of before that makes some shit that makes you go, what?
Yeah.
That's from Australia.
Yeah.
And then you look and it's like, they live in fucking Mildura.
Right.
Or they live in Coburg. And you're like, what?
They're right here.
And there's so much of that, minus, I guess, the clout, minus the publicity, they're still there. And I think that whole thing about fewer international acts at the moment means, like you said, it's a great opportunity, you know, like, at least for the community. Because I feel like the international acts bring really good quality.
Yes.
But I think it takes away from the community a little bit.
Yeah.
Because like you said, there's that
level of detachment.
They're here and then they're gone. You know what I
Right.
mean? Whereas to know, like, the one thing I don't understand about Australia is this thing where it's like, and this is something that's, I think is key with the American music scene, is like, people don't go hard for like their town or their suburb that they grew up in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you had
Yeah.
hip hop with Queens, with The Bridge Is Over with Nas, the beef between Brooklyn. Was it Brooklyn and Queens?
I mean, it sounds familiar. You could be asking
Staten
the wrong
Island?
person.
But it was, but I mean, you know what I mean? Even, okay, on a larger level, you got the East Coast, West Coast beef.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? It's regional, and it's kind of silly because it's like, it's all just music, guys. But at the same time, it's like, no.
It's part of the story.
The sound on the
Right,
West Coast
right,
in the
okay.
1990s
Right.
is one sound. The sound on the East Coast is another sound. You know what I mean? Like, it's different. And now it's kind of like this rivalry, but it's also this thing where people feel proud because they're like, that guy over there on that billboard grew up next to my cousin's house. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And he says it. That song that he's doing is about that milk bar on the corner. You know what I
Right,
mean? And it's not
right.
necessarily like, oh, he got shot there, but he's talking about going there and getting a Snickers bar or whatever he's doing.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
used to live there. It's like pride. It's like sports, actually,
Yes.
when you think about it.
I
It's your
think
team, your
there's
colour.
I might have discussed this on the podcast, but I've definitely discussed it with VU, and especially my brother is a jazz musician and a working jazz musician in Melbourne. We've discussed this before because obviously the primary primary country for jazz is America, just as with hip hop is America. And the attitude of how you promote yourself is very American. The expected way you should be promoting yourself is very American. While Australians are fucking terrible at being like, yo, check out my shit. We're like, hey, if you got time, fucking check it out. You know, I'm pretty rubbish, but, you know, have a little look. We're
You're
very
normally-
self-deprecating.
You normally apologize before saying anything, like a
100%.
Canadian.
Dude, it's hilarious, like, to see, like, if you're on a tram and you're in the way slightly, they'll say sorry to you when they pass you.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, let me just fix. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. Like, I think it's so ingrained in the culture in Australia that we're almost, I think we see ourselves as slightly lower class in the world in general.
We're just not on the ladder, you know. We're not like considered big, big player.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a bit different when it comes to the rock scene and that kind of stuff, but
I'd say I'd say silent achievers though. At the same time, when you look at, I'd say silent achievers when you look at like the quality of talent that's produced, that slowly starts to get exported from a place like here. Like it happens in sports. You got what is it? AFL players that go and play in the NFL.
true.
You know
Yep.
what I- That's great, but the thing I think is like, man, like the talent is going there.
Yeah.
You got like artists that are
Yeah.
from here that go and perform and cater to American crowds. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's like the talent is from here. We were saying that
Right.
in there, like that person that's right now, like, you know, number 2 on the Billboard charts in the States that's moved over there. If they were here, the time that they spend in the studio making that hot shit, making that amazing music, they would have the sound engineer's assistant. They would have the sound engineer.
Yeah.
They would have the walk-ins that come in and hear that. And the same way we're talking about going to a gig, the same way you're saying you go to the gig and you're like, oh man, I was actually hanging out with that person, or I'm like with
Local
that person.
camera person.
Do you know what I mean? Like you go there and you get to experience that, but now
Right.
it's gone. You don't have
Yeah.
access to that.
They take it away from us.
separated. Well, I mean, you know, I guess they feel like they have to go because the music isn't supported, but it's just
Right.
that. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, like, is there? I don't know, because I think we're, at least especially for myself, I'm at the bottom of the music industry in terms of, you know, money making potential at this point in my career. So I don't really know how far you can go in Melbourne, but I imagine that like within Australia there is a relatively low ceiling, and if you want to make money, if you want to become recognized as one of the greats, if you want to work with the people that you want to work with, maybe you need to get out of Australia, which I don't, I think there's room to change. And maybe this is an opportunity to change that. Maybe this is an opportunity to put Melbourne on the map as like, this is a place that you come to actually work on some shit and get things moving. But maybe prior to this situation, maybe there is actually quite a tall order.
I think there's a good case study of Chillinet, Wombat, Husky, Shadow, those guys out of Western Australia who have, they've stayed in Australia, made a whole lot of stuff in Australia for, mainly their local people and their crew, and they've really stayed true to form, and crowds follow them. They get the numbers, like in terms of, millions of hits on YouTube, music videos, that kind of stuff. But it seems that they have been really community focused, and that has been their strength. And I feel like if they were trying to stand on their own, doing their own thing without, because they've got this good, I guess we kind of do it ourselves as well, but they put each other on, they work with each other.
Yeah.
It's not about how this one person can the furthest away from everyone else. It's but I feel like there's definitely examples where it works. Like it's a thing where it's happened. Like these movements have happened probably in like little ripples, but I guess we're just waiting for the bigger wave.
Well, that's actually so we mentioned this prior to recording as well, that like the people who go down in history, who make lasting impact, who have staying power, people who work in the industry, they have their peak. So like someone like Q-Tip, right, who had his peak when he was in Tribe Called Quest, but now he's a producer. Now he's still so deeply ingrained in the music industry, but he's in the behind the scenes. But he's still clearly supporting himself, his family. He's got this lasting impact and continued impact on the music industry. But I think that's because he was so ingrained into a scene at the time when he was kind of coming up. And maybe this is a bit of I might be overstepping in a sense, but maybe Australia, for the most part, jumps on other sounds and reinterprets rather than it feels like it's a fresh
jumps on
Australia's
sounds,
own thing.
jumps on other people's land.
I mean, we've got a fucking history, man.
Whoa,
yeah,
right in history.
We love that shit. We love.
I think it's sad if you can look online. I recently found out there's an artist that I started listening to recently who's really like who's blown up in the last 3 years, who I thought was like pretty fucking good. Like,
Is this a name drop opportunity?
I don't want to name drop.
Okay.
Okay, I'll give the example. It's the Kid Leroy.
Yeah.
Much pop. But like honestly, I think brilliant songwriting.
Yeah.
I thought he was American.
And sonically great. Yeah,
because I didn't
comes
know,
across as American, almost like presents as American.
Well, and collabs, like his hottest collabs right now. And I'm not talking about like YouTube. I'm talking about Spotify.
Oh yeah, I mean?
He's
massive. He's wild. He's had tracks with Juice WRLD.
Yeah, but going on Spotify. Are you all right there?
Yeah. We're all good.
Yeah, I think we're golden.
Golden rolling.
I just tripped on my little cable.
I just tripped. Little cable got me unstable.
Damn. Is the camera on? Turn it what?
But I feel like I Spotify shuffled him into something I was listening to. Boom, he came on, and I was like, "Who's this kid? Oh my god, this is kind of cool," and I liked it. And then only like probably two days ago, I was watching something. It wasn't No Jumper, but I was watching something on YouTube, and they basically brought up the fact that he was Australian. I was
you were like, what?
Yeah. He's Australian. And then I went to Wikipedia and I was like, I read his story. And I'm not hating, like, it's not like, it's not cool, because the truth is, like you say, if you stay here, there's a cap. It's 51 states in the United States. The population is like, what,
300 and something.
300 something million?
I'm
like,
sure.
Yeah. The entirety of Australia has the population of California.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Economically, that's like, if I want to get this money, I need to make sure I expose myself to more people.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
Which is the truth. You look at the tour schedules for your favorite acts that are like hot right now. It's not like they like play on Monday and then spend Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday doing nothing. You look at the tour schedules, it's like Monday,
Every day, yeah.
Tuesday, every day, all
Yeah.
day, different state, different venue, different place.
And then the day off, they're doing something, whether it's like radio signing, blah,
Hell
blah,
yeah.
blah. Yeah.
It's not the same. The market is smaller, but at the same time, with the cap, you know, it's the trade-off between is there a cap or is there no
Yeah.
cap but less benefit to the place? And that's what I mean. It's like, how cool would it be if someone was, to summarize, if someone was from Australia and went, oh yeah, the Kid Laroi, and immediately knew he was from Australia and was like, oh yeah, I'm from there too. For that kid that like can see themselves in, I can't see myself in the Kid Laroi, but for that kid
Right.
that could see themselves in the Kid Laroi,
Right.
not knowing where he's from, would be like, and thinking he was from the States would be like, oh, it's just another, it's detached, it's separated.
Yeah.
Whereas to be like,
Yeah.
he's from Australia, he's from, I don't know where he's from in Australia, I don't know, he's from
Yeah, me either.
Bandura or wherever.
Yeah.
That kid from Bandura goes, that could be me.
Yeah, exactly. It's easy to pull yourself towards that situation.
Yeah,
Seems
yeah.
more like in arm's reach. Yeah, and I don't know, like, I guess with the Kid Laroi example, I have only listened to a couple of his tracks. I haven't really taken into account any press talk, anything that he's said. Maybe he actually, like, represents Australia really, really well when it comes to...
I think he does.
Yeah. So I guess, like... I mean, at the very least, you know, that's great. But yeah, I mean, I like the example of, you know, who is the next Kid Laroi and how is he becoming the next Kid Laroi?
How is he becoming the next Kid Laroi?
Yeah.
And is he, can he, okay, so there's a really good Kendrick song. This is a perfect illustration of this because someone actually wrote about this.
Right.
It's called Black Boy Fly. It's on Good Kid, Mad City. And in that song, he basically tells the story of, because he's from Compton, and he tells the story of three people. There's a basketball player. I can't remember who the basketball player was. Then there's the game, Jayceon Taylor. He tells two stories about people who were from his hood,
Right.
and how his greatest anxiety, his greatest fear growing up was that he saw people from his hood succeed and excel and escape, you know, the reality, or rather the painful part of like reality that had him trapped, the painful part of living where he lived.
Right.
And for him, he was like, he was always scared that they were the last ones to make it out. I think
Yeah,
the
he
last
wasn't gonna
line
make
on
it
those
out.
verses. But it also kind of points to the fact that he would be sitting there. He literally, in one of the lines, is like, he was outside a shop or something, and a car pulls up, and this tall dude steps out, and it's the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he's like, he just knew at that time that his music was being played in all the stores.
It's kind of like brushing shoulders with giants.
Brushing shoulders with giants
Yeah.
that are from where you're from.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like,
local giants.
That guy used to live where I used to live, and that's him. He does what I'm doing now. Does that mean that if I put in enough time and effort, I could go there? Or is it that he's from some magical place that's far away, that I've never been to, that I've never seen?
Right, which is less realistic.
What's real?
Yeah.
You know, like it's in the soil, bro, to sound woke about it. It's like, he's walked where I've walked. He went to the
Yeah.
same school as I
Yes.
went to.
Yes.
He did all that. That kind of makes it more relatable.
It takes a
And
whole lot of excuses out of the equation, doesn't it?
No more excuse.
Yeah.
No more excuses, bro.
Right.
That's interesting. That's so. You mentioned earlier about like people in most Melbourne artists don't rep postcodes or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
Only lads do.
Yeah. And I think that was my turn off from it. So the only people I've seen rep
Actually,
postcodes besides
You rep postcodes.
Yeah, I
Tumi.
rep 3056.
Pick up sticks.
So you've got a Brunswick postcode song.
Fuck yeah.
You're the only person I've seen do it from Melbourne that I have enjoyed, because for the most
Right.
part I see people repping it only in relation to violence.
Yeah.
But also, I feel, and look, I don't know the situation in Melbourne well enough to say that there's not violence, because I know there is violence in Melbourne, but they sound like they're trying to be American gangsters, and I know that the violence here is different. It's a different brand. It's a different vibe.
Yeah.
It's like in a fucking video, brandishing knives because you can't have guns because they're illegal is a fucking weird look when you're trying to act American.
It's certainly a compromise.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that. Having to brandish a knife not because you're edgy, but because you actually can't get a gun.
Yeah.
Like your mates come through with a revolver, you're like, that's not hard enough. Just get us some knives, man. Like,
Yeah.
Or like 6 dudes in a room with the one revolver. It's just
Right.
kind of like, what's
Yeah,
going
yeah,
on,
yeah.
man? Like,
Or one kid with his dad's machete or something.
Yeah.
I wrote 3056 and it's kind of a weed song, but it's also kind of about like the feelings. I was just trying to channel the feelings. I was actually inspired by listening to J-Rock, who's on
Right.
TDE,
Mm-hmm.
funny enough. And he had an album that was his postcode. I think
Yeah,
it's-
yeah.
I can't remember what the postcode is, but at the start of it, he's shouting out the postcode. And I'm like, that's so fucking dope because
Yeah.
as soon as you hear it, and I'm just like, for me, that's what Brunswick is to me. I loved living in Brunswick. And I was like, I gotta write a song about this place, man. I love it. And I use the postcode 3056 because it's easy, you know. Phonetically, it comes out nicely.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Cadence-wise, it comes out nicely. But then I just channeled the feeling and just, you know, trap beats and all that and blah, blah, blah. And really, once you got some nice words and a trap beat,
The way you have put this though has convinced me otherwise that it is actually something worthwhile doing because that I definitely have. I think this is very common in Australia for people to have imposter syndrome. If they feel like they're going to be a musician and then they're going
Right.
to compete with Americans, they're like, I don't know if I can because I'm Australian. Like if I get anywhere close to that, it's a fluke. It's pure luck. Like we're on a different. They are coming from a mystical land. They're coming from a magical land where dreams come true, which is absurd and also a complete propaganda part of the propaganda machine.
it's
of-
propaganda.
of
That's right.
America.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
though I know that though, it's still in there. You know, that's that kind because that mentality is so ingrained in America, and the Australian way of thinking is so ingrained in the way we think. Even though you can say it out loud, like I know I don't believe that, but there's still part of you that's always going to be thinking that. I think.
Yeah, that's what drives the cultural identity.
Yeah.
It's like dreams can be made here. You know, this is like
The land of opportunity.
yeah, exactly.
But to ask like to look at it that way about that imposter syndrome, right? So my biggest thing with imposter syndrome is as a rapper is something I went through probably about 2 or 3 years ago is and this is interesting. I love name dropping, but I'm gonna name drop because I love motherfuckers that do good shit. His last album was Avondale Bowling Club. It was Tom Scott.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But I
Holy shit.
remember Tom Scott. I remember being at PBS one time, and it was like they used to do this thing, PBS anniversary, and it would just be a bunch of rappers and some producers, and we'd have a freestyle session
Right.
live on radio.
Right.
Shit was wild. It was wild.
That's crazy.
But I remember Tom was saying about how it was like someone asked him like, and I was eavesdropping, but someone said to him, "When are you dropping your next album?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't really know what to rap about. I've rapped about everything now." And I got to that, and I didn't understand at that time, but I got to that point at some point because I kind of rapped about everything and written about everything I experienced up to that point in my life, or so I thought. And then I was like, "Oh, but I want to rap, but I don't." And then listening to more rap music, I was like, "I want to rap, but I don't have a gun. I've never been shot. I've never been stabbed.
Yeah.
I'm not from a rough neighborhood.
Right.
I actually like, you know, I've seen some shit and I've lived in some pretty rough places, but I'm not a gangster. I'm not a thug. And the perception of rap as being gangster then fucked me up as a rapper because I was like,
Right.
I have to come. I had people tell me that. My first ever producer used to say to me, "You can't say that because that's not what rappers say. Sound tougher." You know, this was like,
Oh, that's crazy.
yeah, my
Fucking
first
hell.
ever producer. This was when I was very impressionable and first person I ever recorded with. And I was just
Yeah.
like, what is that? Like, whereas now I'm like, bro, I will, and you know what's, no, not even just now me. And now you got dudes that make trap songs where they're literally just whining about not being able to find love. And they're
Yeah.
expressing, they're like having
Yeah.
a sook.
Yeah.
But they're like these guys who are perceived to be hardcore because, yeah, in the next track they talk about shooting you. So
Right.
that imposter syndrome I had was like, can I really say that I'm a rapper or I rap? Can I really say to people I rap? Because they're going to listen to my music and they're not going to hear any gun references. They're not going to hear any violence references. I can't even talk
Man,
like
if they
I'm
listen
tough.
to your music and they don't pick up on that, they're just going to be happy that they listen to your music, man. Yeah, I feel you.
'Cause
That's
what it
funny
means
though
to be a
because
rapper.
I think you and I have a very different. We have the polar opposite experience. Like if we say anything that sounds too close to being quote unquote gangster or something like that, then that feels weird because like. If anyone I'm one of the whitest guys I've ever met in my life, and if anyone sees me trying to act super tough on a fucking rap song, I think they're gonna be like, "That, all right, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it's a
call
bit of a
this guy
reach.
out immediately."
Right,
Yeah.
you're like, I'm gonna say this. You're so white, right? That if you had a gun, I'd actually be fucking scared of you, because I know
You'd be mad
that
white
you
dude.
went to. I know that
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you went to the range, you saw the Born Identity. You fucking like you're not. You don't aim it sideways.
He's both inspired and precise.
I'd know that you'd be on some John Wick shit. You know what I mean? It's
I wouldn't
not,
be pretending. Like,
you know what I mean? You wouldn't
yeah,
be
yeah.
playing. I'd know that if someone was gonna get it, it wouldn't be some shit where you'd shoot a video and talk about it. You'd straight up get up,
Yeah, for sure.
go and be like, "Yo, you fucked up, bro," and it would just be like, "Yo, that dude, he's not around anymore."
He doesn't ask questions anymore.
But on that tip, you do it really well. I ain't from the hood. I ain't Robin Hood.
Yeah, yeah.
You did a song about not being gangster, and that
Yeah.
for me is like, I think that was one of the things that changed my mind with the whole imposter syndrome that I did have. It was when my mind started to change about that, and now I'll just write about whatever I feel. Like,
Yeah.
and even like, because you were talking about your feeling on that, and I was like, whoa, he's literally saying I ain't from the hood, but he's making it. It's dope. I heard it one time, and
Right.
the song was stuck in my head. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
Genius.
Just quickly on that, I appreciate that. And just quickly, some of the lines are no pretender or dark member, remembering dark happenings. I was a happy kid in my childhood. It's like you can rip flows and just interchange it with your own authentic story, and
Yeah.
it can be impactful. But Rhath here has remade the beat of that track, and it's coming on my EP. And man, he has put
You
a
should.
fresh spin on that track.
Same as Milky Bar Kid.
Same as Milky
Whoa.
Bar Kid. And yeah, I mean, we've got Kelsey's vocals on Milky Bar Kid as well. It's powerful. I have to show you after this. It's a real thing.
Kelsey does the thing too.
Kelsey's a folk singer-songwriter,
Damn.
guitarist,
Damn.
also
I
on the
think
horn.
low-key one of the best singers I've ever met.
Truly, I mean, he's obliged to say that, obligated to say
She's
that as a
within
lover,
earshot,
but
and I'm dating her.
this is right there. Hey, Kelsey.
We love you, Kelsey.
Well, Rye loves you, Kelsey. We can't say we love it.
You can say it's fine.
We love you, Kelsey.
I'm excited to see the stuff that's gonna drop in the next couple of months, because I've heard Milky Bar Kid,
Mm-hmm.
the track that we did today. I'm like, yo, if we
Yeah.
I'm excited, but I also think about it from the point of view that we're doing some stuff, but I'm like, I wonder who else is doing some mad shit.
There's so many people doing mad stuff in Melbourne. You don't really have to go that far. I'm forever inspired by going out. Like, say, for example, Ronnie's Blue Bar. You go out. Ronnie's Blue Bar.
Ronnie's Blue Balls.
Can't
I always
get
want to say Ronnie's
Yeah,
Blue
that's-
Balls.
It's a pretty great line. But yeah, seeing what Mono puts on and who comes up to that and who comes up just to like have a bit of a spit, is wild. And before COVID, I was just every week there was something to go to, and yeah, I mean, my God, no lack of talent.
Dude, actually, okay, so this actually kind of brings it all together. So
Are we about to do 360 and
I think we're
get
going to
close
wrap
to a
it. I think we're
tie-up?
going to wrap it up
Yeah,
really
huge.
nicely here.
Yeah.
So we're talking about how a lot of Australia doesn't rep itself in the same kind of arrogant, bombastic kind of way as the States, which I've now come around to the idea that maybe we should rep some fucking postcodes. Maybe we should rep our city, because the knowledge that someone that you aspire to either emulate or just inspires you to make music at all came from the same place as you is crazy, because it makes it so obtainable. It makes it so actually possible in your own mind.
Even repping other MCs, like
Oh yeah, totally.
whether it's in or outside of a track. For example, I don't want to toot my own fucking horn,
Go
but
on though.
I'm a big fan of the Ruckman. The Ruckman's a tough spitter out here. Copped a shirt of his a while back, and
Low key one of the nicest in Melbourne.
one of the nicest. Yeah,
Low key.
people don't know that he's nice, but he's actually nice.
Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
He recorded, mixed, and mastered my Chaos single, my Break Off single, the only single that I've got on.
Chaos. Break off. I remember it.
That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wear his top just because it's like if somebody's like, oh, who's that? I can say he's one of the best local spitters, and he's one of the best spitters in Melbourne.
I want I always say, like, I'm like Thanos out here. I want all the gems. I see people
Right.
with their merch. I got the Sneakerheads tee, the white one.
Yes.
I got the Good Mood Melbourne. It's a black hoodie. I got that. I'm trying to get all the gems. I tried to cop a Fresh Violet. She's not even on the scene as much anymore. I tried to cop a Fresh Violet t-shirt.
She does have nice merch.
I thought about it. I was like, in like 20 years.
It's a controversial move, but we won't get into it.
I just want to, what? All the
Reppin'
gems?
Fresh Violet, I guess.
Look, I'm okay with that. I'm not even about repping it. I just want the merch.
The merch is good.
I want, because it's history. I went to a gig once with this guy, Guy Roseby, who used to do this thing at the Toff, and Guy said to me, every time that he plays somewhere, I think he was saying he gets the recordings from the mixing board, if he can, because there were these jams that used to do at the Top.
Right.
And he said his belief is that everything everywhere should be recorded whenever musicians are playing. Not necessarily for commercial use, but because it's an actual archive. Because beyond selling the music, selling the shows and doing that shit, this is like an actual archive that if you picked apart, if someone didn't have a frame of reference and needed a frame of reference for this time, the music, why is the music not somehow telling the story?
Part of the library. Yeah, I agree. And that's why we'll be focusing on efforts on live streaming our events moving forward. So whether you were there in the moment or not, it's still there to be enjoyed.
So I was going to just tie this up with that. If local live music in Melbourne is about to kick off, or it already is kicking off, but it's going to kick off even harder because there's not a certain amount of international acts coming through. A great way to think about this is it's an opportunity for us, but it's also a really amazing opportunity to kickstart the next wave.
Yeah.
Because if people see the talent that is available in Melbourne put on that stage and on that pedestal that has been reserved for the Americans for the most part up until this point, if they see that, then there's going to be so many fucking kids out there who's going to be like, oh shit, I can actually do this. Those guys, I know these guys. I went to school with the brother of this dude. I've seen that guy in a local cafe. That guy makes my fucking coffee, but he also fucking spits a mean 16. That's insane. That's crazy.
Yeah, and if they hear 3 or 5, 6 pick up sticks, like fucking Tumi's tracks are gonna be like, whoa. Yeah, there's a reason to rap,
Start smoking weed.
Stop smoking weed. Living in Brunswick.
Talking to too many chicks.
Ducking Mikey fines.
Yeah, I mean, loving it. Just want to do a small callback to no beef with Fresh Violet, all of the love. We're not out here to say anything other. I just wanted to,
But I do want I do want the merch.
But we do want the merch. So
I take the merch.
Send us the link. We'll find the link. Shall we? Do you want me to give a bit of a go at wrapping all this up?
Do it, baby. You got it.
So it's not Christmas yet, but I am Santa Claus. I am wearing a little bit of red, and I got a beard. This has been real. It's been great. Tumi, I mean, we could do a whole podcast on just your history of music and your body of work and your body, but we'll leave that for another time. Thanks for coming on, man.
Wicked.
Right.
You guys are all right, by the way. Beers. By the way, just to show you classism at work, DillyDave.
I'm the only
with
one who
the
gets
martini.
the espresso martini.
We got the beers. Rye's got the beer.
I'm empty.
So if you ever wonder who Top Dog was in this particular session, just look at the drinks.
It's classes, yo. I'm not gonna lie.
Not to be that guy, but I'm the one mixing the fucking martinis as well around here.
True.
So
Okay, so who is
my
boss?
producer make my drinks. He makes my tracks and makes my drinks.
And makes your drinks.
Mixologist in all kinds of ways.
That's it. I just don't trust my own hands. That's why. But yeah, this has been the Vibe Union podcast. Tumi, any lasting thoughts, parting thoughts, anything you want to offer up to the people?
I got 99 problems with pitch ain't one, baby. Come and see me. Let's do a little bit of a shameless plug. I'm gonna plug my boys' stuff. We got Aaron 1/6 talking about local legends and repping the local legends. Got a gallery exhibition. Just go 1/6 on Google. If you end up on Facebook, you'll see what he's all about. You'll also know that he's got an exhibition coming up, collabing with a photographer and a filmographer and putting out a track. So not just a rap show, but an actual art exhibition with him showcasing his rap. The man Rhath, album launch next week.
Today? Sorry.
Album released yesterday.
Album
launch is on the 5th of March at Cactus Room. Please come down. Check out Dilly. Check out Tumi on the on the stage as well, joining me.
Yes.
gonna be one hell of a fucking night, I have to say.
It's gonna be amazing. And then the next VU night is Vibe Union night is
26th.
At Lyrebird, is that what we're talking about?
Lyrebird.
So we've still got the fortnightly Lyrebird residency. Who's on the 26th for that lineup?
Oh, I know we've got Jason, we've got Connor, we have others come down. I think Trix is there as well. Actually,
Cool.
nice.
Just logged in today.
Beautiful. Obviously, there's plenty of things out there from Vibe Union. You know, this is our 17th podcast, I believe. 20 tracks up on YouTube. Mixtape to be released sometime soon.
Yes,
It's pretty much ready to go.
it's ready to go. We're just waiting on one little tidbit, but that's all right.
So yeah, I mean, keep the pulse on the on your main artery.
on your main vein. Whoa,
On your
don't say the
main,
vein.
yeah, well, you know, hands off, wakey wakey, hands off, snaky kind of thing. But yeah, you know where to catch us. You know what we are. You know what we do. Nothing but love. Enjoy the rest of your.
Oh, also, if you want to see me in tight pants, video coming out next week for a track that I did collabing with the homies Royalty Noise. That's next week. Check out the socials. You know what it is. Dope shit.
Big
Nice.
things.
Beautiful.
Peace. Laters.